Nonconformist, Montefilia followed by Chapada, but Incentivize is coming away, 4 lengths in front, and Incentivize, what a star, won the Caulfield Cup from Nonconformist.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot, and I've got the punter's punter DK.
Yes, Scooty.
In with me. How you been, mate?
Going all right? You going all right?
Up and about?
Desperate to, let's go. Like, I go for a jog most morning. Everyone else is pretty clean cut and everything. I'm looking like Chewbacca. I'll be at the hairdressers at 1 minute past midnight tonight. Absolute cast me, but I don't know why. I'm the Lone Ranger. Nick's got a bit going on there, but
He always has. Welcome, Nico.
It's just a style, isn't it? Yeah, good to be here, boys. Big day, big weekend.
It was a massive day for you, Geelong Cup Day yesterday. 5. I'll tell you what, I don't want you back on track.
It's going pretty well at the moment, isn't it? Just sort of sitting at home watching it off the TV. But yeah, racing.com coverage has been great recently, so it's been pretty easy to do so. So, yep, good day at Geelong. Hopefully you can carry that into Saturday Cox Plate Day, which looks an absolute ripper.
MRC, how's their mounting yard cam going? Have they improved the technology and faster feed this time?
Saturday was grouse last Saturday, so definitely helped us in the big run. I think we ended up backing Incentivised. We found one in the first at a big price, so definitely helped us. I think Moonee Valley have sort of got similar technology as well this weekend, so look for sitting at home. It's nearly the best it's been recently, so hopefully can continue to find some winners for the punters.
Incentivised was a pretty confident ride. B. Preble, he's just continues to be on fire, and this horse is just an absolute monster, isn't it, DK?
yeah, and I think the most pertinent thing going forward was he said he couldn't pull him up.
Yeah.
You know, people say, is he going to be a query at the 3,200? People said, no, he's not. He said, I couldn't pull him up. So, yeah, and the way he rode him was like a horse who stay all day, didn't he? I think if he just pulled out and built into it from the 1,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, well, he was like 3 wide the trip, probably had the hardest run in the race, and he's running away from him at the end of the race. So I think that just points to everything leading to he'll run 3,200, no doubt.
He's like a runaway train. I like, and once he gets up and starts going, he's just out of control. And well, not he's in control, but he just keeps forging and charging ahead, and there's nothing going to stop him.
And the market, we predicted the market sort of played out, didn't we? It was sort of touching. There was some $2.80, some $3 around on the exchange, and as we said, the models are, he was 6 to 4 and hard at the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, I sort of got involved at $3 and then sort of waited late, see how he paraded and all those kind of things. And by that time, it was $2.40, $2.35 some places. And market was definitely
we know
telling
what
me
they like
late.
in that situations they've shown us before.
And the form with Nonconformist running a really big race, he's just bumped into a freak. And speaking of that, it's probably going to be a similar story for Charlie Rose, the winner of the Geelong Cup yesterday. Couldn't just put away Dr. Drill, probably just outstayed it. But Charlie Rose is going super, but I don't think a horse like Charlie Rose is going to get past a horse like Incentivize. Spanish Mission's got genuine form in the Melbourne Cup as well. Going into the Melbourne Cup, do you think she can give him a fright?
She'll acquit herself well. I think Incentivize is another level above her, but she'll give a great account of herself. She's as honest as they come and tries hard and puts herself there, and it's a great look. He's one right. I mean, it's COVID. There's been a lot of silver linings in COVID, and look, D. Holland, I've seen him whacking away at the provincials for a long time, getting the occasional chance in town. Saw some whip action on him with the left hand, whacking him behind the other day. I think he's taken it upon himself to improve himself, and to see him get an opportunity, he's deserved it. He's ridden her terrific the last two. I think it's a great story for Dean Holland.
Well, that was a great ride yesterday, wasn't it? Just sort of kept her in good momentum, didn't get held up.
Well, he didn't really want to be down on the fence, did he? Obviously on a mare like her,
It just kind of worked out.
Just worked out, yeah. But and he rode it perfect at Fleming in the start before. So look, I think it's great for him. And as I said, he looks to have improved his riding to me.
I went backing Hustle of War. I took $8, and then as soon as Nico pushed through launch job Charlie Rose, I knew I was sunk.
It ran good though.
It did. It ran enormous.
Yeah, he did.
Sort of come again on in the last sort of 100 too.
Yeah.
Hustle.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, no, look, I don't know what race it'll go to, but
I think you might go to the paddock from what I'm sort of hearing. And that doesn't sound like they're going to push onto the Cup, so I doubt they might run in the Lexus and maybe not run in the Cup if they win or whatever, but maybe the Queen Elizabeth. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the paddock.
It was a very strong second pick in the market too, so they're good SP to back it up as well. Just says there's a good race in that horse.
You'd think the Adelaide Cup would be his race, like hometown Cup. He's probably looking for that sort of trip now, like he's real strong at the end of that race. He probably just gave Charlie Rose too big a head start. Like I think he drew inside or outsider, and Linda probably had the opportunity to sit, right on her hammer, and it just kind of didn't work out that way for him. So Yeah, I thought he ran wild. Dr. Drill ran enormous. He gave us a bit of a scare there at the 200 metre mark. I knew he'd probably be weak at the end of 2400.
Just doesn't quite get it out.
And I thought, she'll probably kick back and beat him, but 200 out, I was like, maybe she won't. But God bless her, she did.
All right, it's Cox Plate week this week, and I guess the big question on everyone's lip, how is Zaaki going to bounce back? Can he beat the 3-year-olds, and what to make of the European form and the international raiders? We'll do a deep dive, but it's an interesting one, and it's probably just a question that we can open the show. What can you make of track work? I know Nico likes a jump out. These horses have had 2 looks. They've had a Saturday gallop and then a Tuesday gallop. We've just got some footage here, and we've got Todd Pollard speaking about Zaaki, and I was quite taken by the work of Zaaki in track work, and it was a sign to me that he loves Moonee Valley. He's going to appreciate the strath here. He probably did jar up last start, and he's definitely a forgive. I know the SP profile punters will be all over this horse, but let's have a look at some of his work here.
Just in terms of his final piece of work on the Tuesday, Raphael, who rides him in his track work, he just gets on so well with him, and riding him this morning just did exactly what we wanted. Was right on Moonee the whole time, and just really kept Zaaki focused and on the job, and probably kept Moonee up to the mark too, actually.
You mentioned that Might and Power run. How's the horse come through that and picked up out of it?
Yeah, he's been perfect. It was, a few easy days after the run, take them to the beach, and seems to be bouncing now, so he knows when it's race day. He's pretty quiet back at home, but he gets along to a day like this and he prances around, and he's on his toes, and he seems right where we want him to be.
To my eye, and especially looking at Saturday and then Tuesday's work, he seemed to go better the second time around, and then I liked him through the line there. I don't know if Moang is a flashless track worker, but
no, he's not. I think that's the key with looking at him from a track work point of view. Like, you probably got to look at both their recent gallops. I think there was even the gallop of Zaaki sort of when he went to Caulfield. So there's, you can assess him sort of off those 3 pieces of work, and I think he's definitely improved. Mwanga's not a great track worker, but so Zaaki was probably a little bit flattered there getting away from him late, but it was still, I thought it was excellent work from Zaaki. Just the way he moved in his action there. He looks back on track, doesn't he? Didn't look like he sort of crabbed around that corner or anything like that. He handled it perfectly. So I think Moonee Valley is really going to suit him in that give out of the track potentially this weekend is probably going to suit him as well. The horse that sort of wears bandages in his races, looks like he can have a few issues, and didn't look like it to my eye that he let down on that firm track last start. So potential of a soft track at Moonee Valley looks right up his alley.
Just as a punter, I mean, if you see horses off bad ones, ideally, I mean, I love nothing more than seeing them have a jump out in between runs before they go back to the races. The beauty of this scenario is you've got the 2 horses off the bad runs, or the flat runs, and they've been able to see him lay eyes on them twice. They've been able to go to that track work Saturday and Tuesday to lay eyes on them to say, okay, you can make a judgment about them rather than going to the races blind and say, I wonder if they bounce back or not. So I think it's it just adds to the quandary of the race, of course. But as far as, track gallops don't mean bugger all to me. Jump outs mean something, where they're a field against other horses, not their stablemates. But in this particular scenario, where we've seen them off bad ones have 2 goes at the track, I think it's quite pertinent.
And Moonee Valley's a different, kettle of fish too. It's a tight turning track. It's a little bit unique. There's some horses just crab and just don't get around it. I remember when Winks won her first Cox Plate, I remember going on that Tuesday and watching her work, and I'd done some work for Moonee Valley at the time, and I'd never seen a horse light up Moonee Valley and just handle it. It was so balanced, and the way she worked on that Tuesday morning, I couldn't back her quick enough. I think she was 7 into about 440 throughout the week, and it's burnt into my brain how well she worked, and rekindled interest many years ago. I think he was a bit unlucky behind Southern Speed.
Yep.
He worked like an absolute jet on the Tuesday and was held up and didn't get any luck in running. But he was another horse that just went round Moonee Valley on rails, and I thought that Animo and Zaaki posed no problems, and even Gold Trip as well, to my eye.
Well, and the thing was, going back again, like I said, Saturday, Tuesday, they said Zaaki changed legs, first look around. Saturday was a bit, had a look around, changed legs. Tuesday, a lot more tractable. Yep. Second time there. So again, quite pertinent.
It's a great build-up, isn't it? Like I know we couldn't be there this year, but when you can go to the breakfast with the best, you can sort of stay on there. You got Friday night racing into the Saturday. I think it's a really good sort of carnival sort of feel, isn't it? The Moonee Valley Carnival. You got the Group 1 race this Friday night with the good sort of lead-in races, and Saturday's always a big day. So, the anticipation sort of built up from that Tuesday morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you're just waiting for Cox Plate Day. It's throughout the whole week. And I think it's got a really good feel to it. I like it.
Yeah, no, I wish I just personally, I just can't wait to get the young bloke, my young bloke down to a breakfast with the stars at one of these joints, and get him for a taste of that early morning track work, being close to the horses. Like my dad used to take me to track work. You would have lived and breathed it when you were a young bloke, Nico, and Scoot. So it's just it's more about you get it in the blood when you get and feel it up close and the early mornings, as a young fella.
Yeah, the smell, the sound of the gallops. There's no turning back. Once you go to a breakfast with the stars as a kid, it's there's just definitely you're pretty much hooked for life. So fingers crossed. And I agree with that. Friday night, I think they've really nailed that, Moonee Valley. There's a lot of industry people that get along to the Friday night. It's for the absolute sickos, and it's tough because you're going to back up for the 10 race card, and so, most of us guys would stay at home with the exception of Nico, but. It's a great carnival atmosphere, and the Friday night with the relaxing of the dress code on the Moonee Valley deck there. It's the amphitheatre under night racing. It just really builds the Cox Plate nicely, doesn't it?
It does. That's night. They got three great nights for there. Got that night, the night before the Derby, and then got the they do a great night Chinese New Year night in whenever Chinese New Year's end of Jan. Take the family there. It's a great night. There's lots of stuff on. It's a fantastic night, middle of summer. So I love this Friday night and the one before the Derby to kick off that Melbourne Cup weekend. It's just you just get there full of beans, keep cranking up.
It's going to be a big show. We'll go through the Cox Plate runners. We'll assess all of their chances. Tell you what, Mugs Morrill, Big Parade. We've got footage of him in his natural habitat there. Big Parade, he's back on the board. He must have been confident to record him cheering home the race. It was off the map again. We've got the Brian Crowley and the Bondi Stakes. Mark Lambourne joins us from Racing Rant. Nico's going to have a look at Cox Plate Day. We'll talk about the Manikato as well. And Beat the Bagman. He's taken a leaf out of Mug's book, and he doesn't want to dial in to the show, but he sent a little bit of a pre-record for the Gawler Cup. So we've got a Gawler Cup assessment, and then we've got his next best on the card. So we might have a look at the odds for the Gawler Cup on Friday. Odds courtesy of TopSport. And there's a familiar name at the top of the betting here. Second Slip is the favourite, $4.20 into $3.90. Jumps up to 61 kilos. Signy Useri, $5.50. No Name Lane, $8. Extreme Thrill, $10. Magnetic Edge, $12. Roe Bay, $14. Crown Mint, $15. Blowtorch, $17. Wild Imagination, Second Emergency there, $18. And you can get much better the rest, but Beat the Bagman, he's not on air, but let's have a listen to his pre-record here.
G'day guys, Bagman here, just doing the form for the big race this weekend. That's right, it's the Gawler Cup on Friday. A very competitive field has been assembled for the 2021 edition, headlined by Second Slip, who brings over very good form from its last start at Caulfield. A very good run behind I'm Thunderstruck. Does rise 9 kilos, however, on Friday, but I think it's a very big chance at around that $4 quote. Other chances outside of Second Slip. Look, I'm looking down in the weights. I'm thinking Wild Imagination and Road Bay, both around that $15 plus mark. I think they can both run well, but Second Slip from the Will Clarkin yard definitely looks very hard to beat. Outside of that, I thought the best on the program was race 6, number 1, Larkham from the Ryan Balfour yard, dropped sharply in grade, and the 3 kilo claim. Barrier 1 will be no disadvantage, I think, at Gawler on Friday. I'm expecting the fence speed to be the place to be. So I think we can get the cash with Larkham in race 6. I think Second Slip will run also very well in the Cup, and maybe a few dollars on Road Bay and a Wild Imagination. And then, as the mug says, we'll go find our bookie after collecting on those two events. See you later, guys.
Beat the Bagman there. So he's found Second Slip jumping up 9 kilos. It's a bit daunting there. You're shaking your...
I don't know if it'll run there. It's drawn poorly there, and it's in the Crystal Mile. It's in the Crystal Mile with Meach and that on. So I'd say he'd be doubtful to run the Gawler Cup. But then in that case, I'd be working around his 2 middle pinners down in the weights, Road Bay and Wild Imagination. $18 and $14 respectively. And I just see that TopSport's just gone up on his best bet of the program. That's race 6, number 1, Larkham. They've gone up $2.80, so maybe fastest fingers first there. That price may disappear, but... bit concerned about that video. Macho Man figurine, the wrestler. He loves the WWE, does he?
Is he sweet there? Or are you a big wrestling man, DK?
I was. Oh, huge. When I was a young fella. Loved it. Macho Man, Mr. Wonderful, all them. Was huge back in the 80s and Oh, it's massive. My youngest brother's still right into it, watches Raw and everything.
Would you go?
I've been. I used to go with him. I've been in the Melbourne one about 8 times at Rod Laver.
No way.
Front row seats with me. But it's been a monkey each and all that. Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be your go.
No. Well, as I got older, I wasn't. But I go with him and I don't mind the rest. It was good. Wrestling was fantastic.
Was it?
Oh yeah, huge.
I think definitely skipped my generation.
Oh, another thing you missed. Give me the Sopranos, the wrestling. You young blokes, you've just missed the boat.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I don't know how I go. I don't know how I go with the crowd either. I don't think it'd be my sort of cup of tea. Be like Metallica crowds and all that heavy rock and all those sort of. I don't think I'd fit in and blend in there. I'm surprised, DK.
It was huge. I loved it. It was huge. Off the top rope.
I don't know if you're taking the piss, but you're dead set serious. All right, let's have a quick look at the Manikato Stakes market. I've already touched upon it. It's Friday night under the lights at the Valley, and Sava 2XL, the ex-Darwin Alice Springs horse. He pulled September Run's pants down, and he got us. We were a bit shell-shocked with that one. 420 out to 460, ingratiating 550. Lombardo 550, Sneaky 5 850. Jonker $9. Bella Nipotina $11. Crystal Bound $13. Swats that 18. La Mexicana 21. Express Pass. Now it looks a big price, $26. Away Game 31. Streets of Avalon 31, and Dispatch 101. Nico, there's been a lot of talk about the Everest robbing this of a lot of the proper Group 1 sort of talent, but from a betting perspective, you're getting a good price if you can find the winner here. It's an intriguing puzzle. I'm not very clear on the likely winner, but if you find the winner, you're going to get a good price about it.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt the Everest has had an impact on this race. You look at sort of first, second, third in the Moya, which is usually key lead up. None of them are here. So look, a lot of the form out of that race hasn't even sort of came into this. So it has been a race that can attract the good. Like Bivouac ran in this race a few years ago, and they're using that sort of similar profile with ingratiating. So it can still attract a good horse.
The key is because the bloody Everest rotates its date from either Caulfield Guineas or Caulfield Cup.
Yeah.
Depends on when the NRL Grand Final's on. So half the time it's all right because they can go Moya, Everest, and then into this. Or if it's on Caulfield Cup, then they get a weaker field.
And then you got that winners race.
I think Michael Brower said, again, talking to Racing Australia, sort it out. Get them to lock in Caulfield Guineas Day for the Everest, and that'll be it, and then this race will be fine. So, who knows, Racing Australia.
And then you got the VRC sprint as well. So it's in a tricky spot, but there's still a fair angle there if you want to find the winner. Look, Sava 2XL, I think he's probably the one you'd probably lean with. Good win first up, going to be suited again to 1,200 maps. While
Improver.
Looks like he'll improve.
Looks targeted for this race specifically.
It kind of does look that way.
It was flat at last start, I thought.
I know. I think it was flat at last start.
September run failed, and all the others just come up the straight all one paced in a blanket finish.
But I don't think it was grand final day for him. I think he was there for a look, and he just pinched it.
Yep.
Because that was my read on that one. Ingratiating.
Oh, he's a hard horse to get a read on, isn't he? Like, he come back this preparation, he run well in that first win, and then got beat by Ranch Hand, and then last start he completely turned it up. He copped a few bumps earlier in the race and got into a bumping drill.
Mucking around with the blinkers as well.
200 chance, but like he did go awful. Like
he's got the strong SP profile.
You're gonna have to be pretty forgiving to want to get involved at sort of $6. I know a few people took a lot longer, but I honestly thought that there was a horse in that race that looks completely set up and it's jumped out better than ever. Dispatch, I would not be shocked if he ran a huge race at 200 to 1. This looks like
what price it is.
Peak McAvoy. He hasn't run for about over a year, but it looks like he's
blinkers back on,
completely set up for this. It's go time for him, I reckon. So it's not that strong of a Group 1, and if he brings anywhere near his best, he's in the race. And I thought he jumped out outstanding. So I'm probably going to have a peanut on him each way and just cheer there.
Well, I love that. Nice little angle, D. Holland on. That's interesting. Maybe the Manikato might need to change it up a bit. Maybe go down the handicap route like an Oakley Plate or something a bit different to spice the race up a bit.
Maybe. Well, they're going to put it in the hands of Racing Australia and get the pattern sorted. And, basically, if that doesn't work, then they'll probably look at other options, Scoot.
There's a funny one I saw on the front cover of the Daily Telegraph after the Everest. They were saying that the Everest needs to have Group 1 status. So Peter V'landys has played God and created all these pop-up races and made a nuisance of himself instead of upgrading the existing races or shifting them around. And now he's whinging and sooking that he wants them to be Group 1s.
It should be. It's the best sprint race in the world.
It should be, but you can't tinker with it all and then make a mess of it and then want it fixed and start sooking and crying. Like On one hand, he says, "Oh yeah, the young people, they want this, and then they want the new things. They don't want the old Doncaster. They don't want all this traditional stuff, which is all just absolute bullshit, right?" But then on the other hand, he says, "Oh, now I want it to be a Group 1." Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, it's just garbage.
Well, but it's a Group 1, just not in name, isn't it?
Exactly. It's our best sprinting race, no doubt about that.
And lived up to every bit of it, didn't it, last week?
You look at sort of Friday night when the Manikato is a Group 1, and you go, "Well, how's this a Group 1 field?" So.
And it's not exactly a breeder's race, the Everest, is it? So
it's just whether, you get the Everest ticked off Group 1, then do you get the Bondi Group 1? Do you get all these other pop-up races become Group 1s when they have absolutely failed? Like the Craven Plate and the Hill Stakes trying to attract Cox Plate horses, that hasn't worked. The Bondi's awful. The Everest has worked, but some of the other ideas have been awful.
Get Massara to sort it all out.
So the weather forecast for Cox Plate, it's 6 to 10 mil Friday. It'd be interesting to see when that hits, if it hits, and when the races are on Friday. It could start to chop it up and become a cow.
That's worst case
That'd
scenario.
be a disaster.
Like if we cop 10 mils in the middle of Moonee Valley Friday night, chopping it up for Saturday, like
big watch.
We want to avoid that for sure.
And then it's 4 to 8 mil on the Saturday. Could be on the soft side, but I still don't think that's enough to genuinely concern me. And Marty gets it absolutely right, 95% or 99% of the time. I think he'll nail it.
Be on the soft side of a good 4, I think, and it'll be a perfect track.
Even last year, like I was at Cox Plate Day last year working in it, poured with rain all day, and you still saw a great race. There was probably only one horse in the race that was real disadvantaged in the race, probably, but there was six across the track coming into the straight, and any of them could win. So I think with this year's race, there's probably not a horse in the race, probably Probabile again, but the rest of them all seem to handle the wet conditions. There's probably not too many that don't like it. So it's still going to be
I think the track will be fine. It's just in our pocket. Like I live 10 minutes from Moonee Valley, and like you look at the radar. You look at the radar on the bomb, and it's supposed to be raining, and I look outside and there's nothing. Like it's just so isolated, So it just depends. But I'm tipping it'll be all right. I'm tipping it's soft 5 worst way.
Tio's kept the ride in a floating artist in the Moonee Valley Cup.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you a little bit?
Not really. No, they probably. I'd say it was a team. Ma might have gone down with the ship with him in that. It wasn't just Tio. Ma said, "Look after this horse."
Yeah.
He'll be a bit more assertive, I would have thought, in the Moonee Valley Cup.
Different scenario. Doesn't have to make all for himself. Like Starcaster's going to go out and lead.
Pondus is up there as well. There's going to be tempo.
He's probably like 1 out, 1 back, 2 pairs back, 1 off maybe, and just sort of peel into the race at the right time. And Tio's actually a really good rider of front runners, and I think like that last, he did get it wrong.
I watched the replay again yesterday. In dead set, he never asked for an effort till like the 300.
Yeah, he got it wrong there, but
he's asked for a sprint.
Like 9 times out of 10, he's really good on the leaders. So I'd be expecting him to bounce back, and he's got that sort of the defeat on the horse last night. He's got something to prove there on Saturday, doesn't he? So when jockeys usually have that, Robbie Dolan was the same in the Spring Champion.
With Profondo,
probably stuffed it up, changing the whip hands. They come out, have something to prove, and they usually just find a new level.
Yeah, no, he'll
be hard to beat.
He will be.
Be really hard to beat. All right, let's get into the main course here, the Cox Plate. Let's have a look at the odds, courtesy of TopSport. We've got Zaki, the favourite here, $2.80. Animo, second pick, $5.50 into $4.60. Very elegant. $7.50 into $5. That's a surprise to me. Gold Trip is around the $10 mark. The import from Europe, State of Rest from the O'Brien yard, $10. Mo'unga, $15 in from 19. Probabile, $15. Captivant, $21. Dallasan, $51. And Call Sign Mav, $81. We'll have a look at Zaki last time.
The Zaki as the jockey on home for
Stakes, which is traditionally the lead up for the Cox Plate.
Yeah, but usually want to probably be winning it, not getting beat. Look, non-conformance has come out this run second in the Caulfield Cup. The way Zaki raced here, he just looked like he was nowhere near his best. He come off the bit 600 metres out. The race shape was probably against him. I think everything off that run suggests, and off what he's done in the week, he can improve off this. I would say that track was a firm track, not a good 3. I'd be sort of leaning the times that they ran. It was more a firm 2. This horse is much better with the cut out of the ground, which he's going to get there on Saturday. Even if the rain doesn't come, this Strathair surface is suited to horses like him. If you give that one poor performance, he did go around $1.18 or something. Like, he's been absolutely smashed. The run prior, he beat Probabile in second gear when she was flat out to beat him. So I think you can definitely make a case he could have regressed 3 or 4 lengths in that run. Can they get him back to his absolute best where he bolted in a Doomben Cup? I think so. Does he need to bring that to win this? Probably. It's a great race this year. He's got to give Animo nearly 10 kilos. Very elegance in it this year. Gold Trip's got some outstanding sort of overseas form. So I think we're going to have to see nearly the best of Zaki. J-Mac going back aboard's
confident rider. Barrier 6.
You still have to
the race.
Yes, you still have to mark this horse favourite. I think you half got to forgive that bad run last start, and you can expect the improvement here. And I think if he does do that, I'm happy to back him. I don't think I want to take 280. I think you might see closer to 350 on the day.
I'd probably agree with that, Reed.
Yeah, I think the Reed, there's two things for me. I think you can either get really great up over this race or you can keep it nice and simple. I think the biggest key in the whole for this horse is J-Mac going back on. Apparently he walked out after watching that race from the jockey's room last start. He walked out to Animal Nation and said, I've got to get down there and get back on that horse. She goes, yeah, sweet, you just get yourself down there. So don't think he was too enamoured with Craig trying to sit and sprint on him in that race. Look, he'll roll. He'll gradually roll. He might sit outside Coulson Mav and then roll to the front. He'll ramp it up and try and break him, and that's the way to ride that horse.
Well, I think he's commented that they might have gone too slow there and that he's better off at a fast tempo. So if J-Mac's come out and said that already, he's definitely going to, 1,000 out, 800 out, 1,200 out. He's going to go, isn't he?
Like Preble Road incentivised. That's how he's going to ride it, and so come after me. Track's beautiful. Moonee Valley's, that surface is going to suit him a lot better. A lot of horses get brought undone at Caulfield, particularly Sydney, or horses who go that way, the clockwise way when they come to Caulfield can be brought undone. So I think I'll be referring to the SP there. It's a very, very short SP, and I expect him to bounce back, and I think he's the horse to run down, yeah.
He was going for his 6th win at a different track last time, and we spoke about it that he'd won at 5 different tracks, and we now get him on a more suitable track. So I couldn't write him off. I agree with all points made. Number 2's Dallasan at $51. He's a horse of mine.
He's your horse.
I thought he was
the best read on him.
Really good in the Epsom, but he just lacks a killer punch for me. I think he can run a place at $10, but I just can't see him going past any of the 3-year-olds and just the top liners there. He's more of a handicap horse. He's honest as the day's long. You can put him in your multiples, your trifectas or your first fours, but he's a no for me.
Yeah, he's a genuine 50s chance.
Gold Trip is a bit of a query runner. He's run 4th in the Arc. Let's have a look at some of his track work. He's on the inside here, and it was only a bit of a look around, and this was the Saturday work, and he's worked again there on Tuesday, and
you got to make big time note of the horse outside.
I was just going to say, that's all I worried about in this track, Caliber. Who's that on the outside? There's
thought of that is one of the great track workers. Like, that is just what he is.
He's in Friday night or Saturday, isn't he? He's evens or something, isn't he?
Linda gets back on. He's probably
Linda.
Friday night. But this was good work from Gold Trip.
He looks like he gets around the valley, no worries to my eye.
Yeah, just with his action there as well. I think he's kind of suited to this way of going, just the way he sort of moves. Of course, out of the quarantine centre at Werribee, where he has had his setbacks, and that's been in the media, but I think out of that gallop there, he didn't go to breakfast with the best on Tuesday. So that was last Saturday. Whether he did a sort of tune-up piece of work at Werribee, not 100% sure. But off that, you say, okay, he's ticked Moonee Valley. They picked barrier number 2. I thought they might sort of pick a wider draw, but he does have a real sort of short, sharp dash, this horse. He can get out. He's going to
have to take a sit and get well back. So he's going to be in the coffin.
He's going to need a great ride.
Whether that dash is going to be enough to come after Zaki, they're going to make a sustained run.
He wants it wet. The more rain, the better for this runner.
He's got some real good form overseas. Like, I know he's coming up against probably our best horses, and Very Elegant and Zaki at their best, but his overseas form is world class. He's running the Arc, has probably just peaked late, and I think he's suited 2,000.
That's the key. The key, what you just said then, is Zaki and Very Elegant going to be at their best? If they're not, he can beat them. I heard Mar saying he's similar along the line, similar horse, similar profile to Sir Dragonet. So with more rain probably help him. He said Werribee's been in fantastic order down there because they've been all this bits of rain we've been having. It's been really suiting him, getting a bit of jar out of the ground. So look, he'll run well, but that's the grey up. If either mark horses to run to their best or you don't, it's just I think the favourites might handle him if they don't, if he doesn't. But
I reckon he's been underrated, to be honest. So I marked him a bit shorter than $9. I kind of thought he was 2nd or 3rd pick in this race, probably 3rd pick. To be honest, I am on at $26, so maybe I've got the blinkers on a little bit there, but easily off his best form, and just the way the race could map out for him. If he gets the breaks, he's got the turn of foot to win this race.
I think he'll be heavily backed if the rain comes and it starts to chop out a bit.
That's the key. Like Sir Dragonet was 14s into 7s last year.
Hammered.
If this horse is 14 into 7s, you probably want to be on.
Yeah. Call sign Mav, the Kiwi, $81 chance, maybe a class below.
Yeah. He'll be up. He'll be a solid on pacer. He's a decent New Zealand horse, isn't he? But
Like, he deserves his chance, doesn't he? He's won his last two.
he's earned his spot.
He's got form around Melody Bell, which is easily timeable to this race. He probably just lacks a bit of the class, and I think he's probably better over a mile than 2,000. I would love to see him in the Cantala, and we may still on the backup, but yeah, he looks outclassed in this year's Cox Plate.
Mowanga's the next one. He was pretty good in the Epsom. He was wide, kept running. Before that, he was in the Maccabi Diva over a mile. He had the incentivised form on that occasion. He's been super honest all 3 starts. He's okay over 2,000 metres, I thought, but just again, I put a line through the 3-year-olds and them carrying 49.5 kilos and watching Moanga sort of come home, albeit off a tough run in the Epsom. I just worry that I couldn't have him in front of a horse like Animo or Captivan. I can't see him carrying 57.5 kilos to beat those runners, although Hugh's going to put him in a great spot. He's from barrier 4, I would have thought. And if there's a couple of these have an off day, he's not hopeless.
No, yeah, I think you summed that up really well, Scoot. He's a horse we know well. We've sort of stuck up from him a few times.
It'd be good to see him.
His spot here. He'll run well. He'll run top 6 or something. And then, it just depends how. But I don't think he's good enough to beat the favourite.
I think he's potentially looking for 2,000. It's been a great preparation. He did beat Very Elegant at the start of the prep, then bumps into Incentivise. So he's got the grouse form. The Epsom hasn't been a bad lead up for the Cox Plate, and that sort of get back run on sort of style run. I don't think he'll have that run here. I think Hugh puts him in the race. I don't know if he's up to the level of, your Animos and your Zakis and with the weight he's got to carry as well, but I think he's definitely a player, and he's not $4, is he? He's $15.
That's right, yeah.
He's $3.60 the place. I think if you're playing exotics, if I was playing a Trifecta or a Quinalo, those sort of things, I'd definitely throw him
so
in.
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was a bookie, he wouldn't be a loser for me. I'd keep my foot on him a little bit. He'd be one of my results in the race. Very Elegant, Nico. This is a mare that you've got a pretty good handle on. She's your cup of tea, or when to get up her, it seems. She looks under the odds for mine at $5. I couldn't back her at the price, and I didn't love her work at the Valley, and I had got a bit of a query on her manners at the Valley.
Yeah, well, she's ran in a Cox Plate and sort of didn't look like she handled it. I think she's a better horse now than when she was then, but whether she's at her best. She got beat by Moanga first up. She fouled in the George Main. It was a good win. You could knock that she was on the fence that day, and that was the place to be. Then last start, she's well below her best in a Turnbull. No doubt if she brings her best, she's right in this. I'm not sure she's at her best. Of her form, this preparation, I think you could make a fair case she's a length or two below that. I think she'll have to be near her best. Great trainer. Apparently she was in season last start. The bloods didn't come back that good. I didn't think she paraded as well as I've seen her before, relative to when I saw her in a Caulfield Cup and those sort of races. Just didn't walk as well in the mounting yard and was sort of very light in condition. So I would imagine if she can improve off that, she can definitely run a race. But personally, I don't want to be backing her at $5. And if I was playing bookie in the race, she'd be a loser for me for sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the thinking was of the people who sort of said, $7 is a good price. 7 into 5 was sort of the main bet early in the early market.
Rain coming? Like if we get that 18 minutes?
That's probably right. You're probably right. Yeah. And she's a nine-time Group 1 winner, but she might be in the twilight. I think you could be on there, Nico.
TopSport were betting a couple of heads-to-heads last week, and I found a little bit of $1.87 about incentivised last weekend to beat a couple of horses home in a little group betting. So if you can find a group market, I'd be liking to take on Very Elegant. I'd back something like Moanga at $3 or in a head-to-head. I'd love to take Very Elegant on in a couple of head-to-head or little group bets. So make sure you check out TopSport's market there. I think Moanga might be a sneaky chance to beat Very Elegant home, and Very Elegant might have an issue. You just touched upon it with being in season, but there's a drug that the mares aren't allowed to take in Victoria, which they are in New South Wales. So that could be one to do a little bit more research on, because I'm not sure that she's allowed to take it here. But Probable's an interesting one. She got the chocolates last start, big boil over, got the tick there at 2,000 metres. This is going to be a high-pressure race, this one. Preble's on fire. I'm just not convinced Probable is another horse that completely loves the Valley either. Has failed there before. Thoughts here?
I thought she ran very well in last year's Cox Plate. That just wasn't her conditions. her conditions was last start, a firm track, 2,000 metres where she probably only had to really get past nonconformists there late and sort of hold him off. The other horses in the race weren't really in it, were they? Zaki nowhere near his best. I think she's an A grader. I think you got to probably be an A plus to win this race. So given that, I have to be against her. But she's coming into this race winning the Caulfield Stakes, ran second in the Underwood the run prior, and she's got around $15. I can see the reverse angle and saying she's over the odds as well. But she's not going to be a winner for me. But I wouldn't be shocked.
I still have a query on her at a testing 2000 where she'd have to chase. Those sit and sprint or whatever, the other day where she had to sprint up the last 600 and she probably peaked at the 75 or something the other day anyway, and nonconformist nearly knocked her off. So she's a great mare. Again, she's been there for a long time since she's a 2-year-old, but a testing 2000 where she'd have to chase Saki would be my concern with her. I think she's round about her right odds.
State of Rest is the next one at the $10 mark, in from 13. This horse is a Group 1 winner in the USA. He's more so Group 2 form in the UK, so it's a rung below. He definitely doesn't want wet weather or rain about. Any thoughts here, Nico?
He's the X-Factor runner, for sure. He's got this sort of profile of that untapped
4-year-old.
sort of big
He's only lightly raced, isn't he?
Yeah. Going back and watch all his UK replays, he sort of got back in a lot of those races and hit the line and looked like he was sort of wanting further distance. And then last time, I think he got to 1900 there in the USA and absolutely bolted in. I think in that race, I'm not fully across European sort of international form, but I think a few of the horses in the market underperformed and he went around sort of $19. So maybe that was him sort of overachieving. But it was a big win. It was a massive win.
It was the first time he'd stepped out in trip too, which is so it's a good sign that he can do that first time out in trip.
All reports out of Werribee seem to be good. So, look, he's a hard horse for me to want to back, but I can see you don't want to mark him sort of 20s or 30s here either.
He's dangerous. Yeah, he's dangerous. I mean, great camp. So they wanted him up close. I heard Joseph O'Brien yesterday. He said they wanted him up closer in that Saratoga race, and they just got a bit far back, and so he can take a good spot. He's an outlier for me. He's that lightly raced. This could be his wheelhouse. This distance range. He's had one run at the distance range and he pissed in. So he's and the camp know the right horse to bring out, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Only query is if it gets too wet there. This horse does like on top of the ground conditions. Looking through his form, Anamo's the next one. We'll have a look at the last 400 of his Guineas win. It was sensational. I'm still beside myself that Artorias isn't in the race. I didn't think there was much between these two runners. Nico was all over Animo here. It's interesting, he's a son of Street Boss Animo. That's a Street Cry line, so same sire as Winks. So it's a Street Boss though, Animo, and then it's got the Redoutes mare side. So everything suggests that 2,000 metres will be okay for this horse. And interestingly, Captive wants sort of the written tycoon and more of the sprinting line. Yeah, Capitalist, which is
sprinting line.
Yeah, sprinting line. But
both thrown to the mother as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So I would have thought that again, Artorias I should be in the race for mine, but Animo with the 49.5 kilos, it's such a big advantage. Craig Williams rides the Valley as good as anyone. I know there was some commentary about how poor Willow had been at Caulfield and some other tracks, but he's an absolute Moonee Valley specialist, Craig Williams, and 49.5 kilos. I tell you what, he's going to beat a lot of these horses home, isn't he?
Well, you sweat down to get to that weight and you do all the work and you're going to want to put in a good one, aren't you? You're not going there to run second or third. He's going to be right there, top of his game, ready to win. I think this horse will start favourite. I reckon there's going to be a big push for him from the syndicates and all those kind of things. The big punters, they love horses, these 3-year-olds in these races, coming out of a higher rating Caulfield Guineas. I think it's one of the highest rating Caulfield Guineas we've had in the last sort of 10 years. A similar sort of horse with that profile, Helmet, come to this race and started $2.80 favourite in a Cox Plate. That race probably wasn't as good as this year with the sort of depth that this year has, but he's got the profile, everything sort of ticks. One thing I would want if you're an Animo fan, which I am, but probably not on Saturday, I think you would have wanted a better barrier. It would have been great if he could have drawn barrier 4.
That's the key for me. I mean, he got away with it last. I mean, he's a good horse. So he had outside barrier last start. Now he's drawn outside barrier again. How many times can you keep getting away with it from an outside barrier at the top class? It's going to need he's going to have to. I would have. James Cummings doesn't really want him to be used up early, but Willow want to put him in the 1-1. So it'll be he'll want to come across and look for a spot and use the lightweight early doors
That's a huge advantage, the lightweight.
The lightweight. So we can use him up a bit, but Cummings obviously will want to conserve some energy and want to find cover and all this. That's just the camp. It's just how they want that horse ridden. So, bloody interesting. Geez, I mean, he just adds so much to this race, this horse. I mean, it's great to have him there. The wide barrier, if he drew 4 and was going to get every possible,
What I love about him here, if he does come out and win this race, he's probably going to have to do it the hard way.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. How he did pretty much the hard way last start and got away with it. Can he do it again here?
He had to show he was the best horse last start. Okay, you're probably the best of the 3-year-olds at the moment. Yes, Sartorius is a super talent, but he's not as professional as Animo. So
this is the market will be like the market. I guess he didn't care last start, but that was against his own age and all that. And said you're still $2.30 chance no matter what the barrier is. So what do they do this time against a horse who started at $1.20 last start and counts off his best? So what the market does here will just be fascinating.
I think they find him big time.
And the market in these Cox Plates, as I said last year, Sir Dragonet 14-7, Liga Assure was the biggest go you'd ever seen in the last 5 minutes of a Group 1 when it won. The biggest go ever. God knows how much money was put in it. So the market gets this race right, I tell you, and they just plough in late because it's a huge betting race. So, it'll be interesting.
Be fascinating to see because Craig Williams had the ride on Castelvecchio last year, and then he gets, I guess, the top billing colt, and I think Castelvecchio is about $8.50 or sort of $9, and there's no Liga Assure this year, so the $4.60 price, I sort of tend to agree with Nico. I think this horse is going to clear out and be the second pick easily, and it wouldn't surprise me if Craig goes a little bit more forward than usual on Animo. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I think the best thing about Animo getting the 2000 is his racecraft. He doesn't make too many mistakes. He's a really professional horse. He travels so well.
Just going to be down to the tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That horse is not going to want to say use the lightweight and test Zaki from the 6 and eyeball him or anything like that. He's going to want to come after him. So it's.
I won't claim it as my stat, but my brother Trav sort of went through and looked at a fair few of these horses in the 3-year-olds, and I think of the 3-year-olds that are raced on speed in the last 20 years, 50% of them who have been, I think, first 6 in run or something like that, or first 4 in run, have run a place. So if you're a 3-year-old and you're in this race, you probably want to be on speed. So
Captivon, it leads us perfectly into Captivon is barrier 1.
Well,
what's Yendall going to do?
He's going to want the box seat.
Yeah, I think he will.
He's going to have a look for it. Whether he's got he doesn't have a lot of early speed, but he's up to 2000.
You can just punch him out.
And Yendall's an aggressive rider. He can get him running out of the gates. So he's going to have a look for that box seat. That'd be his plan. I thought he was terrific in the Caulfield Guineas. Don't know if he can win, but I mean he's 20-1. But bloody hell, I reckon he'll run a hell of a race. The way he stuck on the other day, Adamo looked like he's going to put him away, and he only put him away less than half a length, didn't he?
Yeah, and this horse's 2 clear best performances are in 1600 metre races, suggesting 2000 will probably suit.
Yeah, I'd say he's thrown to the damn side. The Capitalist, I wouldn't worry about that side. He looks like he's got stamina, this horse, and he looks more the 2,000 metre horse to me. So I thought he was terrific the other day. And if you give an Animo a chance, Animo's drawn shit out, so he's drawn barrier 1, and one's $4.60 and one's $21, and there was half length between them the other day. So I reckon he's got a hell of a chance to run top 4, that horse.
A slight question mark for me on a wet track. I think if you look deep into his form, he probably wants.
It's not going to be that wet, Scoot.
Well, we just don't know. Well, I'm just trying to throw up every sort of different angle. If it's a good track and if it's good to just so soft, I think that's fine. But that's my little query on that runner. All right, let's put Nuts on the line. Top pick, DK. I know it's not your go, but
no, I think
play the game.
I want to see what happened last week. I want to see Zaki as a racing purist, and these short SPs, I can't see past them. So I just want to see J-Mac roll, go, this big brute of a horse up the front. These good horses coming after him, and then him be strong. So I'd like personally. Look, I'm not. I think Zaki will. Should be a great Cox Plate. It's a great race. It's always a great race, and I don't think this will be any different.
Nico?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I think if Zaki can get back to his best, he's our best Australian hope, and I think the best of the internationals is Gold Trip. So I'm probably just going to back both of those two.
I think Animo on top. I think he might beat a tiring Zaki, and I think Gold Trip will be flashing home. So I'd be probably Animo on top, maybe Gold Trip to run a place, and then Zaki to sort of tail off, and then Moanga probably for a 4th spot if you're looking for a Blanc first 4. What were you going to say?
I was just saying great, but I was last week that, 40 minutes between races was as good as 40 minutes in our sport, the Everest. the great Everson, then into watching Incentivise do what he did. Geez, I love our sport, tell you.
Outstanding. All right, let's. Nico's found one in race 10. He's found a get out. So if we make an absolute mozza of the Cox Plate, or if you're on the Chevy,
I think you got 18 races Cox Plate weekend. If we need something late to get out, this is the horse. I think.
I'll tell you what, you're on fire lately, so I wouldn't put it past you. All right, the Tesio Stakes. I can vaguely remember Tesio. Anna Visto is $4 favourite here, in from $4.20, $5 only. Word Star L $7.50. Grace and Harmony $9.50. More Profits $11. Magna Bella $14. Ecumenical $16. Same quote. Flying Mascot. Ilafare is $16. Good and Proper $20. Vanna Girl back from the Abyss $21. And you can get much better the rest. Nico, we're going to have a look at the replay of the Anx Stakes here. And More Profits in the racing colours with the light blue sleeves back, buried on the fence there, and had a bit of horse.
Yeah, he did. Sort of in the checker cat way back on the fence, Kira McAvoy. I think she should have won this race. She had no luck at the top of the straight. She's sort of weaving her way through the field. Still has no luck there. Sort of gets clear momentum now and really charges to the line this sort of last 100, 150 metres. Through the line, she was very strong as well. 1,600 there. So stays at 1,600 metres here. I thought this was probably the best lead-up run in the race. Like, Anna Visto's coming off a poor performance last start. The rest of these fillies, like, she ran straight past Grace and Harmony there. Grace and Harmony's $9.50 and she's $11. I just thought she was way over the odds. I thought you could make a clear case she should have won that race. She brings in the Grouse Sydney form and she's $11. I thought she could be closer to $6. And I think each way, you're definitely going to be collecting. I think she'll definitely run a place. She's very consistent. The mile suits. Froggy's going to get her in a good spot from barrier number 8, hopefully just building wide on the track, keeping her momentum up. And I think each way, especially the place, I think she's going to give a good sight. And I just think she's over the odds.
This race looks like an absolute rifle. So if Nico's found one here at 10-1, I'm happy to trail him in. But yeah, there's a lot of horses like Princess Jenny, Vanna Girl. It's a real mess. Star L. There's lots of chances here. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a dart.
Yeah.
Dart here, but the Anx form definitely looks good enough there. All right, that's our brief look at the Cox Plate, Moonee Valley. If you want more of Nico's stuff, make sure you check that out. $11 a meeting. It's a must. He's absolutely on fire. Saturday, what are you going to do Friday night, Nico, with the Manikato? Anything?
Well, it's the first night out of lockdown, so I think we just might have a night off there. But I might send something out. Just stay tuned if you're a subscriber there. But I'm going to say likely not. But Saturday, we're just going to prep for a big one.
All right, if you're looking to do the form at Moonee Valley, or if you want to do it up in Sydney at Randwick or Adelaide or Gawler or anywhere, it's puntingform.com.au. They allow guys like me, Nico, and DK to do form anywhere with their benchmark times. It's sensational. You've got barrier info, you've got bias information, you've got trainer and jockey stats and data, so you know when both camps and jockey are running hot and who's suited to which stables. That's where I get my little Oliver Lay model for the Metros when he's under the odds on those favourites. You can create all these little systems as well. So make sure you check out puntingform.com.au. The full kit is $297 a month. Or if you can't bother doing the form yourself, you can just tune into DK and Nico's stuff in the Little Birdie shop. The boys are absolutely on fire.
I wouldn't say that, but one of us is.
Hey? Oh, you're seeing them all right?
So yeah, it's just up and down. It's so frustrating. I keep hitting the peak of my 50 units, the top, which is a new peak, and then I can't get past it. Take one step forward, 2 steps back. But anyway,
you're staying in the
stuck
fight.
On 49. Just got to get off there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, half century. I know it's hard to keep winning at 40 or 50% on turnover, but it's still bloody frustrating. A
little bit of a trumpet there. I'll tell you what, you made a fair few bikes rich in the last couple of months, DK. So as long as you're in the fight, I think your subs will be pretty happy to stick by you. All right, we'll take a quick break and then we'll talk Randwick with Mark Lambourne. Welcome back to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. We've got DK and Nico in studio, and it's now time to talk to Perla, the man who started it all from racing at Rand. Mark, how are you?
Very good, Scoot. Of course, we've got St. P. Volandi's day on Saturday. He's bestowed some money on a particular race that doesn't seem worth it, but it is what it is.
Just another $2 million that the punters tax used.
Crazy. Isn't it? We saw we spoke about it earlier in the show on the Daily Telegraph, I think on Monday's back page, which I'm not sure it's back page worthy, but there was the gripe that the Everest hadn't been upgraded to Group 1 status, which is crazy. So PVL's just absolutely skew with the pattern, and he's pretty irresponsible, I would have thought. He's now throwing, $2 million to the Invitation, a mares race that looks like a pretty lowly Group 2 event, I would have thought, Mark.
Yeah, you'd see one of these races either across the Caulfield Carnival or Money Valley, or you might get one at Flemington. It's exactly the same sort of field as you would see any other week. So the pop-up prize money hasn't had an effect there. And you could argue that the Bondi, it's third year running and remains $1 million and yet again fails to flutter.
It's crazy.
It just shows you. It just proves, doesn't it? Just throwing the prize money willy-nilly just doesn't. It's not the answer.
Exactly. So,
especially on these big days, he's just trying to compete with the Cox Plate and, or not compete, but he wants to have big races on those days so he can tax the corporate bookies more, isn't it? That's another part of it, isn't it?
Yep. It's really crazy. Like the Invitation, we're not going to do the race, but on Trev, Ice Bar, Star Tuntes, Tricky Gal, Angelic, Nudge.
You said Group 2, might have been Group 3.
Yeah, it's mainly Group 3. Sweet Deal, Forbidden Love, Rocket Clock, Bellucci Babe.
They're even lucky they got on Trivia because she's from New Zealand, so she races for nothing over there, and they've come over and said, all right, we want to target this race because it's worth $2 million. Imagine if she wasn't in it.
If that's what you're going to do with the prize money, I don't think you should be trusted with the pattern. You need to take that power away. We see what's happened at Oakbank. Like the custodians of the races have now got rid of the jumps carnival over there, and then you've got another bloke up in North Korea that's throwing prize money willy-nilly, $2 million on a glorified Group 2 or 3. It's farcical. Someone needs to take control over that.
Masara's got.
Well, he's in bed with all of them.
Well, he's supposed to be arbitrary.
Is he? Well, how's his interest?
He won't. He won't.
What's he going to do?
No faith.
Anyway,
all right.
Let's get on to it. That was our rant. That was our racing rant. So make sure you check out the rant. They provide fearless commentary on a weekly basis, multiple times a week on Sydney racing. So if you're not happy with the mainstream media up in Sydney, make sure you check that out. That's where you need to go. But let's have a look at the market of Brian Crowley. This looks like a decent sort of race for some progressive type horses. Able Willie, 195 out to 215 at TopSport. Mizzou, 550. Zarastro is 650. War Eternal, $10. Battleton, $11 is strong 2 there on the trot. Looks anything, that horse. President, $11. Centro Storico, $17. And again 20, and then Artero, $26. The replay we're going to have a look at here is the favourite, Able Willie. Its last 400, it was some win. This it was a little bit of traffic early. The horse can be somewhat keen going. He's trialled in between. He looked like a bit of it was a pretty quiet trial last time, and he just wants to run this horse. He puts this field away really impressively, Mark.
He does. It was at the midweeks on the inside track there, otherwise known as Kensington, and he defied the pattern somewhat. The pattern on that day was very much up and in, and he sat just off the speed and came wide. But I'm not sure how much speed he's got, and the real problem, he's certainly top pick in the race, but seems a little short to me. The real problem we've got is that, firstly, Bomb's had a strip out, keep tipping the 10s on Shot of Rain, and it keeps going under. And we've got half a track to work with on Saturday. The rail goes at 8 metres, and that's sitting on top of the crown, and it can be hard to come from off the pace when the rail's out like that. So that's a couple of factors that we're dealing with on Saturday, and so that does play into the hands somewhat of Marzu, which is one of the few speed horses in the race. Freshened up, coming out of a yard that's not performing, but has got some creds against better types and most importantly, tactical speed. So he was a horse I went looking for. The favourite has got K-Mac on board. K-Mac's had an horrendous period as well. So did break through with the nightcap winner yesterday, but he's got some work to do here on the favourite. The other horse you mentioned there, Scoot Battleton, who has been throwing himself the line in 2 runs, and he's got perhaps the rider on the card, which is Jay Collett. So he's the horse to look at as well. Marzu and Battleton are out away from the favourite, who I've marked 5-2, and I think has got a great chance. It's clearly a talented type, but query on the map and the rider, and that'll do me.
Zarastro, Glyn rides this one. It might go forward from barrier 8, set up, or maybe pour a little bit extra pressure here. A bit of team at Waller riding, and it was narrowly beaten by Polelli on debut, but 306 days since it's second there. It's a bit of a query, wouldn't you think, from the Waller yard?
Look, it was pushed hard to me, Zarastro, yesterday, but I recall finding it in the Polelli race. Now, Polelli came up from his Moonee Valley win to win over the 1200 at Christmas time, and this horse just absolutely sucked along behind him in the best spot. So not getting any kudos from me based on that run. Obviously, Waller, 3-year-old, second preparation, yada, yada, yada. I'll be looking for him shortly, but not tomorrow, or not Saturday.
Okay, so you're expecting with the pattern, a bit of a drift for the favourite there, Willie? Potentially.
I suppose I am, with not a lot to work with. It's one of those situations where the layers will just go, well, we don't like having to back the rest of the field, but there aren't obvious places to go away from the favourite.
Mm.
Yeah, this all sort of caught my attention back in July when he trialled behind Remark and Fire. Fire's since come out and won a maiden, and Remark was obviously maybe one of the best trials we've seen in the modern era. But he hit the line real strong in that trial, and I thought, you might have some sort of ability. I haven't taken any notice of him since, and sort of only come back up on my radar sort of when I saw him in the fields there on Saturday. But like Mike said, good win at Kensington. Trial since was good. I don't know. It feels like he's in the wrong race to me. He looks like a horse with a lot of ability. I think they should probably wait till next week, shouldn't they, in the Coolmore?
Mm. Interesting, isn't it?
That would have been interesting, I suppose. I presume he's got something else there, Waller.
Mm.
When you factor in like Kalos was off a maiden win, there's all this intertwined sort of Extreme Warrior was off a Chuka maiden win and then absolutely bolted in the Sapphire. I don't think it's that big an ask this year to come from a maiden to win the Coolmore. So this maybe could be a horse that even backs up and does that, but looks very smart. If he drifts, I might get involved, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about his racecraft. Looking at his trial, looking at what happened last time, he's only just got a steering wheel, this horse. He looks untapped to my eye, but I don't know. He could come unstuck against a couple of these sort of classy, more mature sort of colts in a Coolmore. And I think Waller's just notorious for taking his time. He loves the JJ Atkins to go down that route for slow maturing horses, and he probably just doesn't need to expose this horse too early. So that's my thinking with that. I watched his trial and I loved it, but he's still going to do a lot wrong, or I'm just not convinced that he's mature enough to tackle a race like that.
Fair enough. He's got to get through Saturday, and if he's only got to beat sort of Zarastro, I'm happy to back him in at sort of 220 plus, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be probably anchoring him, and it'd take a pretty big track bias to beat him, I would have thought. But I'm interested in Mark's comments about the track. Let's have a look at the Bondi Stakes. DK doesn't know what this is. He thought it was Miss Bondi. It's the 4X Bondi Stakes.
You're telling me it's time honoured?
Well, it's been around for a while.
Kubrick,
well, don't you remember the
who was it?
Fought out
Pancho?
The original.
Yeah.
Who was
Kubrick
it?
and Pancho.
Pancho. Has either of them won a race since?
Pancho won at Moonee Valley,
yeah, Kubrick won at Queensland.
No,
Pancho
not
won
many.
a 2,000 metre race at Moonee Valley. The start after he did beat Russian Camel on punters.
There you go. Dicko's
He
all
did
over
too. That was on the Thursday,
was a
wasn't it?
sickening
That was
day
Oaks
for
Day.
punters.
Yeah, that's triggered me. All right, let's have a look at the market for the Bondi Stakes. Halal, 320 into 280. Coast Watch 350. Cathel is $7. Royal Zell $9. Dufresne $11. Arnacure $16. Akihiro $18. Keefe $21, and much better the rest. A little chopper reference there. Let's have a look at the Stan Fox. The Stan Fox is the lead up here, and Halal gets the better of Cathel. And talk us through it, Mark.
Yeah, Coast Watch is the favourite in the race for J-Mac. Blue cap, white colours on the inside there, probing for a run. That's the slower lane over there on the inside, but it did carry J-Mac, was very wound up off the Golden Rose. So whilst he carries the favouritism from the lead up into the race on Saturday, He's likely to be ridden forward from the second from the outside there. Dufresne will come across and lead. J Parr is the noted leader. This horse is a noted leader as well. So Coast Watch will have to do a bit of chasing. Halal, he'll be looking for a midfield posse, one off. Everything worked there for Halal the other day. I wouldn't be rushing into that price, but he's certainly top pick because he had a torrid run in the Golden Rose and obviously showed that off in winning the lead up. Coast Watch has had had J Mac on a series of runs, so J Mac off is never a good thing, but is pulling on Halal. So that led me into Arnaker, which is freshened up off the gloaming, and it sat 3 deep in that race. We talked about that previously in relation to the Spring Champion Stakes, that was not the place to be at Rosehill that day. So he, with a trial under his belt as well, is a horse that I'm looking at. And Dufresne, the leader. Not a lot of substance in his form, but he's got the racing style and some sort of beaten up 3-year-olds that will be chasing here. So I'd suggest that Arnaker and Dufresne will feature in this race, and they're well into double figures.
I think you've nailed that race. I think the definite value picks there are Dufresne and Arnaker, and I think Halal's going to be super hard to beat. I just think the extra distance up to a mile probably suits, and I think he'll beat Coast Watch and Cathel this time. Well, yeah,
he was nosed out by Captain Bond in the Champagne, so that form looks all right, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you had said to me, Captivon and Halal, one's going to run a Bondi Stakes and one's going to be a Cox Plate back in the autumn, I would have thought, Halal's going to be the Cox Plate, isn't he? And look how sort of different their careers have taken. He's hard to trust, Halal, off what he's done this preparation. Like, absolutely threw the waste away at Flemington. I know he had excuses in the Golden Rose, but he was awful. Then he bounced back last start. I do think a mile will suit him for sure, but his best is easily good enough, but he already sort of brings that every start. Typical Colt. He's got a mind of his own, this one.
Scary to take that. That's those sort of odds, isn't it? Around those sort of horses. They're just...
But then there's not much in the race to beat him, isn't there? Like, Mark's kind of looking at the horse out of the gloaming and the horse is going to sit on the lead, and maybe that's all you need to beat a horse like Halal and Coast Watch. But, it's a wide open Bondi. But as we know, punters, the form out of these are good, so just back them in.
Have you had a look at the Cox Plate, or have you got any interest at all, Mark? I know it's Mexico.
I wanted to ask Mark what his thoughts about, and also Captivon at 2,000, and I mean we all know Animo and everything like that. But and I've just seen Animo.
Yeah, I can't get warm about 3-year-olds in the Cox Plate. But, clearly they have featured from time to time. The $1.30 in the lead-up gets J Mac on board. He seems the obvious place. Last start is only one run, and a horse is not its last start. I think that's Phil Bull's Pearl, so I'll steal that for this show. So Zaki to belie his last start is where I'm heading.
Yeah, that's where I was heading.
What were you going to say? There's the 3-year-old winner of the Cox Plate behind you, so you think.
And it's just come through that James Cummings said he's going to be ridden to his strengths, Animo. He's going to be midfield. He's not going forward.
Okay.
So as I thought there'd be a quandary. He'd want that. Willow would want to go forward, the lightweight. But
I can just see him finding a back.
He's going to have to. Midfield. He's going to have to make a sustained run, which he can with the weight to chase down Zaki. That's for sure.
If he gets a drag into the race, I think he'd be all right.
Maybe.
Very elegant draw 9. Willow might just go, I'll pop right on the back of you, see where you take me.
Well, that's right, true. And she likes being outside horses anyway, so it's not a bad draw for her.
There's been a couple of 3-year-olds feature. Savabeel, Seamus Award, a couple of hard luck stories.
That's a few. But
everyone's got their own opinion.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Anyway.
And he's going to stick with
test
Zaki.
them out. It'll test them out at 2,000 chasing Zaki, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe something around Gold Trip as well there if you don't believe in the 3-year-old form. All right. Any other final thoughts, Perla?
Just another throwaway Pearl. It was relevant to Nature Strip last week, which didn't quite help me on the day, but thereafter it firmed in my thinking. When you look at these tracks that are perhaps inside biased, the horse in the lead can be forgiven for being so supposedly in the fast lane because that's the horse doing the work. It's the horses sucking along on the fence behind when you get these fence days. the horses to oppose. So Nature Strip came off the shorts. Of course, that was a rail out day at Randwick, and Guitra sucked up behind him, was a bit unlucky. But so Nature Strip, well, I was thinking, because he'd been in the fast lane, that was against him in the lead up. But beware of those horses that actually work in the lead. They're not as well. You shouldn't be as savage on them as some of the others behind them on the inside.
Your good friend Jason has a party nailed the race, and as we do here, we sack him off a win again and brought further.
He was 2 from 2, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Collect one.
I don't think he's tipped a loser on the show.
No, he hasn't.
He's a freak, isn't he? But he would have needed the break for sure.
Yeah, good in small doses. Better fresh. He's a fresh horse, Azza. Tipping he'll slide into my DMs and give me a roasting for that one. Outstanding stuff. All right. Well, good luck with all those millions and upon millions of dollars on Saturday. I'm sure it'll make the racing more exciting, and must be good to be free up there and to get back on track. Are you back on track?
Not just yet. You saw all those yahoos last week. That wasn't something to be part of, but just hanging out for these gazillion-dollar races to be over, so we can get into something normal. But I mean, I must say that it hasn't worked on Saturday because we've lost the riders and we haven't got the horses. So there's not much to crow about. You guys have got the Cox Plate. I'd much rather be there.
Oh, well, we'd much rather be there too, but we can't. We're all stuck in jail here anyway. But fascinating to see how it's going to play out. But big thanks to Mark Lambourne from the Racing Rant. Make sure you check out his Twitter handle @JustIdeal. He's full of pearls. You just heard one then. And now it's time to talk about Muggs Morrill. Tell you what, he's back, and we just one of his mates has just caught him on Spike.
We're showing that. We're showing that.
Yeah, I think.
Someone said he's a foot taller than I thought he was. The mug.
Let's have a look at him kicking home big parade here.
Get there! 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 Go find your bookie!
I'll tell you what, the house is a bit cleaner though, I'd imagine. And then it took me a couple of goes to figure out what he was saying. But he was saying, get there, get there, get there. And I think it ended up becoming, get there, get there, get there.
One of a guy in the mug.
Hey, just rules at home.
Loves it.
Outstanding stuff. You love to see it, don't you? The punter roaring one home. Even when you're on track and you sort of see some old mate roaring something home in some 58 at Kalgoorlie or something like that. So you just love to see people back in winners.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. That was Big Parade last week. Let's see what let's hear from him now. What's he got for Saturday?
Hi guys, Mug here with the Muggs Moral of the Week. This week it is race 10 at Randwick. Number 9, Gravina. It's got form behind Big Parade. It'll sit off the pace. It's got form behind Big Parade. It got beat 0.13 lengths off Big Parade. It's got form behind Triple Ace, Tycoonus, some very good horses. It's going to sit off pace, come down the outside. Barrier 1 is no problem. We've got Kieran McAvoy on, one of the top jockeys of the day there this weekend. I'm seeing he looks like going to be having a good day. So the Muggs Moral is race 10. Number 9. And also, guys, the Mug also likes something in the midway. He's not a big midway bettor, but he is going to give you something else to have something on. Air to Air. Race 4, number 3 at Air. It's only had one win its career, but it's maiden, but it's been running 4th in a Group 3, 6th in a Group 2, 3rd in a Group 3, 8th in a Group 3, and only getting beat 2.7, 2.2, 2.95, 4.5 to horses like Sessions, Fasika, Sweet Deal and Rocker Clocker. This looks like a good horse. Trialled well, looks a good bet. So boys, Muggs Moral of the Week is race 10, number 9, and have something small on race 4, number 3, Air to Air. And what does the mug say after every win, guys? Go find your bookie. Thank you, guys. I'll be back next week for a Golden Eagle Day.
Wow, that's tough. Is it just me, or is that segment getting just creeping
I think we've
longer
created a
and
monster
longer?
there. He's got his tail up after last week. He said, I'll throw in another 2 tips.
Oh.
2 mugs morals.
Interesting, that one.
I'll have to reel him in the mug. We'll see how we go. They both win. We've got to let him go.
The merch, the Zaki cap.
Oh, he's all over it. Race 10, number 9, Gravina. That's going to be back in the coffin there. That's drawn barrier 1. This horse has got a monster turn of foot, so it'll have to be ridden dead. So patent pending there, 260 might get a better price there at TopSport, might drift.
Yeah, I ended up sort of chiming in last start, trying to chase my tail a bit late in the day, trying to get a favourite up weight and come home in some enormous figures to run second. He's come home his last 600 plus 16.7 on the punting form data.
Is that possible?
Average.
Last 200 plus 8.
Is that even possible? Oh, they must have gone out really slow.
Gone very
Slow, and he's just charged the line. This is like Osborne Bulls Jr. I reckon he'll struggle to win some races because of his racing pattern, but he has like group class turn of foot, closing speed. He's going to need some luck from one, but if he gets it, he could be too good.
ADAIR is a horse that I knew reasonably well. It looked like it was going to be something. Interesting 1200. Might be a fresh horse. I thought it might need further, but this could be a setup job. So going to have to dig deeper into that one. But
Mug's had a bet, $5.50 to $4.
Yeah, $5.50 to $4.
In
He
the
loves a
midway, is
market
that the midway
mover.
one?
Yeah.
Interesting. Mug's pattern's usually finding speed horses. Now he's trying to flare up a
pushing the
bit.
boundaries,
Isn't he? He's starting to find him
Falling
back.
on from the coffin. The run-on job.
Yeah.
He had dates. I'll just get to the outside and come home. He said, I'll get to the outside. It's got barrier 1, no problems. No, he could ride from K-McAvoy.
DK's favourite.
All right,
Coffin, mate.
let's have a look.
Got me again the other day.
Let's have a look at the early steam at TopSport. The bigger bets early in the week. The first one is Friday night in the Manikato. Number 2 here is Jonker, 1,000 at $11.
Yours, Nico. Didn't you tip this down the straight the other
It's
day?
back.
Yeah,
It was a bit flat last
pulled
time.
up lame and had all these issues.
Yeah,
and
he
went to
had-
Sydney, had no luck. So I can see the appeal there at $11 for sure.
Could be your ticket. All right. The next one is Moonee Valley Saturday. Race
I know this
3,
horse.
number
I
5.
just swore.
Nicolite, $10. It's been 12 into
I
10.
got this
G big.
I got this completely wrong last start. Yeah, I know the horse that reeled off, similar, reeled off huge sections. What was it? No horses come from last at Mornington at the 400 for 15 years or something. It's the first one to do it. So they walked and had sprinted home massive
Oh,
sectionals.
I did too.
And I was on the other easing favourite, Dingo. Anyway.
You want to be with it? It handles.
Oh, well, yeah.
of sting in
And
it?
he's my man, G Beg. That was even like, it was just one of those where I just had to, I had to go for a walk after that race, a long walk.
So you'd be betting without saying.
10 to 1, yeah. Well, it's untapped, that horse. It's got a good turn of foot. I haven't done the race, but geez, I know. That's that. So what's that, third up off the big sections? It's got a good base to improve off.
All right. Race 9, number 6, very elegant, 5,000 at $6. I'd personally be laying this bet, and I'm happy to wear the egg on the face if I get it wrong. So I think Tristan's got one there. I think you'll get better than $6 too.
It just depends
importantly,
on the race, you said. You'll be looking at the forecast. I mean, the more aggressively you go either ways, depending on when you've got plenty of time.
Yeah, well, if Scoot's right and tipping all the rain, she's definitely going to come into play.
You can get into it. If you're playing, if you want to lay it or do whatever, you can play right up to the death, so see exactly what the conditions are.
well, Mark, the bomb gets it wrong often, and as DK alluded to, and
you know why they're getting it wrong? Because there's not enough planes. They get all the information off all the planes, right? Because the planes are all flying around and just getting the weather feedback and everything. And feeding back into the bomb, got a link to that apparently.
no planes
I read
in
this
the
the other
sky.
day. There's not enough planes in the air. They're not getting enough feedback, not getting enough stuff. That's I heard that the other day, yeah. So
DK Pearl.
DK Pearl. Not enough planes in the
gotta
air.
clip that one up,
The
Nico.
bombs, that's why the bomb's struggling.
Oh, DK's theory. I believe it. It's just too obscure not to be true. DK couldn't make that up. He surprised us with the wrestling earlier. All right, Randwick race 10's the last one. Number 9, Gravina.
The mug, he's already stepped in.
3,000 at 2.7. I tell you what, he's got plenty of bullets. Just bang, bang, bang.
Well, we just spoke about it. So
Might get a bigger price depending on pattern.
Got to extract itself from the coffin. And Mark, what was Mark saying? On pace. On
could be on
pace with
pace
the
there.
rail out 8. So
You know what,
it is late in the day, but
That's a big thing. You don't have to have all your bets early, and you can watch to see how the weather and the track patterns unfold. And to be flexible as a punter is one of the big edges that you got. So you don't have to tie your bookie to the cross on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. You can wait till Saturday, and you can get Nico's Yard stuff, and you can hammer them late. You can get them once all the cards are on the table. So there's different ways to skin a cat. That's for sure. All right, I think That's it for me. Any other thoughts, DK? Off to the barbers. Beautiful.
Yes, I'll be lining up, mate. I'll
Lockdowns
be
semi-finished.
I'll be brand new.
Fresh.
I'll get the whole shooting match getting done, and be hopefully fresh for St Arnaud on Sunday, Nico.
Yeah, I was kind of looking through it. It seems a bit of a DK sort of week. Yarra Valley, St Arnaud, Sale, Benalla, Swan Hill. They're sort of the provincial.
Horned up.
Half of them. Yeah. Even though Avoca last week, I got horned up for it and then did the form and said, can't fire here. It's $2.50 chances in my races, so didn't touch them. But anyway, it's a good time of year.
Outstanding stuff. All right. If you want these boys' action over the weekend and on the Metro Days for Nico, make sure you check out Little Birdie shop. It is sensational value. Fletch Asia is airborne again. 2 of his best bets lobbed last night, so another 6-unit profit. You are absolutely mad. If you want to bet Hong Kong, just set and forget. Bet and forget. Gets me out of...
Even the Singapore got me out of one there on Saturday. I just took a little double with incentivised one. I think it was race 4 or race 5, and it absolutely bolted in and then straight into incentivised, so it just built a little bit of a
strong
bank.
and smart or something?
Yeah, something like that. Killed him.
Yeah, there's just so many horses,
odds?
so much action.
No, it was like 250 and
That's all right.
$2.
Got the job done, did it easy. Down the outside in the red and yellow. Make sure
they're good for like that double sort of scenario when you can't really find something else, elsewhere, and you go, okay, I'll just chuck this in.
Lob it in.
Bang.
You can bet with confidence with the Fletch Asia stuff. It's on Telegram as well. Make sure you check it out. If you had signed up last night, you would have paid for your whole membership for the entire year in one hit. So make sure you check that out. All right, I think that's a wrap from us. Can't wait for the Cox Plate, Manikato. Can't wait for lockdown to finish, and we'll see you next week.